Welcome back, and welcome to this session's modification of the eraser method. The previous session may have been the first time in your life when you paid deliberate attention to every inch of your body. Unless you've done similar forms of meditation like this before, it's almost certainly the first time that you've done it for this long. We're going to be keeping with that level of attention to the body and to every section of the body as we continue to do this exercise over this and the next session. At this point, we've begun the process of getting a much higher resolution map of your physical body linked to your conscious awareness. There's all sorts of stuff stored in and linked to the different areas of your body, as you have no doubt discovered. In many ways, the body is a powerful extension of the brain-based system that stores our memories, including our past triumphs and our past traumas. Doing a simple exercise like this version of the eraser method that puts attention directly on the body can produce all sorts of different psychological and physiological effects. Our attention can shine a light on a specific spot on the body and allow what's stored there or associated with it to come to the surface. Now, often, this includes memories, thoughts, and emotions, but it can also include more unusual things like muscular jerks, euphoria, nausea, physical pain or discomfort, emotional releases, feelings of positive or negative energy flows or releases, and many, many other things. It's truly amazing what can be unleashed and tapped into just by putting attention on a part of the body. It's important to note that all of these are fine if they're happening to you within the context of the previous guidelines we've provided during earlier sessions. It's equally fine if none of these things are happening to you. As I've mentioned many times, this is a completely individualized process, not a competition, not something where you should be comparing yourself to others' experiences. Whatever's happening for them is perfectly fine, and whatever is happening for you is exactly what should be. Remember that it's important to be as unreactive as possible if things are coming up for you during meditation as you put your attention systematically on each and every part of the body. This is even the case for very strong mental and emotional experiences. Whatever comes up, just try to watch it, let it unfold, and let it extinguish. As you learn from labeling things gone and stopped, everything that comes into awareness eventually leaves awareness. The degree to which you're able to just allow all of your thoughts, emotions, and sensations to simply come, have their moment, and then go is important. During your meditation sessions, nothing should be viewed as arising for you to engage with, work with or work on, process, or fix in any way. Sound familiar? Excited occasionally to have an epiphany and think to yourself, oh, it's so great. My mind gave me all this. Oh, I realized this thing about my childhood. We're not interested in that. Your mind is going to try to give you all kinds of juicy candy to try to lure you back into its grip. We want to avoid all of that. Just allow it all to come and go while you remain as detached as possible. This robs the power that these things seem to have over you, even when it feels like it's a great thing to have realized. Last session, we had you scan your entire body from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes in continuous 1 to 3 inch squared sections. In this session, we're going to stick to that general theme with one major adjustment. Instead of scanning your body using blocks, you're going to scan using something more like a ring or an elastic band. You can have this be anywhere from about 1/2 inch wide to 2 inches wide. It's important over time, though, that you get it to be sort of as narrow as it can. And so, in other words, if you start off with like a wide band, you want to increasingly get it down because what are you doing? You're basically able to sense smaller and smaller sections over time. And that's exactly what you want. The ring should be tight and it should hug the area of your body that it's over at any given time. It shouldn't be a loose ring that's, way out here away from the body. It should be a tight ring that's scanning. It should contour to your body. Another way to view this ring is as a scanning ring. Imagine if you had some sort of scanner that was just going down your body. Well, in this case, it's a ring that's going all the way around a certain part of your body, and it's just scanning this section, then it's scanning this section, then it's scanning this section, then it's scanning this section. And it scans all the way through your body in that area. Essentially, it's something that's capable of picking up the entire slice of your body that's under the ring, from the skin all the way through and then to the skin on the other side. So, starting at the top of your head, you're going to visualize that ring passing down over your body one section at a time. As you did with the blocks, you'll move on after you feel any sensation in the area under the ring. But unlike the blocks, you won't move on until you feel sensation from every area under the ring. Now, there are several ways to think about this, and all of them are perfectly fine. It can just be sensation from the surface of the skin that's under the ring. And so if the ring is right here, just the surface of the skin is perfectly fine. Doesn't have to be any deeper in the body, even though the rings can scan all the way through the body. If you're just picking up sensations from the surface of the skin, that's completely fine. Or maybe you're not picking up sensations from the surface of your skin. It can be from a deeper part of the body under where the ring is at. Or it can be a mix of both, depending upon the area that's under the ring and what you're sensing there. It also doesn't have to be the same in every area of the ring. And so if you've got a ring here, this part could be the skin, but maybe this part over here could be something deeper in your skull or whatever else. I'd say your brain, but it's your head, and your brain doesn't actually have anything in there that can sense feeling. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, because oftentimes you probably feel like you're feeling something going on in your brain, but they can basically do, open brain surgery without any problem, because you don't really have any nerves in your brain. You can be awake for it even. Okay, so there's all sorts of different options for this. You can, mix and match, and just, whatever you're experiencing in terms of sensations is fine, as long as you're experiencing something from every single point all the way around the ring, wherever it's located. So you want to experience a sensation from every single point all around the ring before you move to its next position. Now, as you might imagine, it can take some adjustment and acclimation for you to be able to feel sensation from all parts of the ring at one time. So it's okay to get as close to this as you can. You don't have to be so hard on yourself. For example, you can feel it from as many places under the ring as you can at once initially, while also noting kind of where you can't pay attention. And then you can put your attention on those parts of the ring where you don't have that sensation and see if you can feel anything. Treat them like a dead spot, basically. If you feel something, move on right away. Again, just like the block version of this exercise, the second you feel every spot under a ring, doesn't matter what you're feeling, surface, deep, a different mix of things, you immediately move on to the next section. However, it's possible, and frankly, it could be a good idea for you to see if you can then bring in the sensations. Once you're at the ring and you've basically sensed what you can sense, and then you've figured out the dead spots, then you've put your attention on the dead spots, it can be a really great idea before you move on. Technically, at that point, you've sort of felt everything from around the ring, but you haven't done it all at one time. And so it can be a good idea to bring in the other parts of the ring at that point and see how much of the ring you can feel all at once before moving on. If you can't feel something from one part of the ring, again, just follow the ideas involving dead spots from the last session's eraser exercise video. Keep your attention in the area that doesn't have a sensation for a moment or two, and if nothing arises, just feel as much of the rest of the ring as you can, and then move on to the next area. Pay attention over time to whether these dead spots remain from one section of the scan to the next, or if they change. Just this awareness can help you to begin feeling sensation in those areas. You're also free to use some of the hacks that we covered in previous sessions, like touching an area, having a fan blow on you, wearing tight clothing, and so on, to help you gain some sensitivity with those dead spots. Unlike the previous exercise, although you're starting at the top of your head and going all the way down to your toes, this time when you're done, begin the next scan where you left off. So you don't go from head to toe and then back from head to toe. Now you're going to go from head to toe and then from toe to head, and then from head to toe and then from toe to head, and so on. You can treat your arms and legs one at a time, as you did in the previous exercise if you'd like, but I can tell you that nearly everyone will eventually begin to have a single scan all the way down their body and back up at some point. And what that's going to mean is that when they get down here to their arms, there's probably going to be the single ring dividing into 3 separate rings. So you'd have one for the torso, then you'd have one ring on this arm, one ring on this arm, but they'd be going in synchrony with each other. Same for the legs, same for the fingers and the toes and all of that. You may think that that sounds difficult as I say it here, but soon you're probably going to consider it easy to feel all the way around each one of these rings, even when there are multiple rings all at the same time. As these rings move down your body, eventually you're going to hit your thumb and fingers. And you're going to be thinking to yourself, now I've got all these separate rings. What's going on here? Well, the ring around each arm may divide further at that point to go around each finger. And then it's going to go off the end of the fingers. And it's okay to just see those rings disappear as they go off the tips of your finger, while the main ring continues down your torso. That can all happen in one synchronous movement with all of the rings lined up horizontally across the body as they go down. As with every exercise, this session's adaptation of the eraser method may seem super easy for some of you, very difficult if not impossible for others, and anywhere in between for the rest. Just like every other method, doing it is ultimately just like a new skill that you're developing. And no matter where you start, you're going to get better over time. Remember, don't let it stress you out. Just do your best. Try to make it as far as you can, or through as many up and down scans as you can over the hour, and just know that whatever you're able to do is perfectly fine, and it's what's best for you. Now, as you continue to practice this exercise, you may find that there's an automatic flow of sorts that develops. It might seem like the ring just starts to move on its own. That's perfectly fine, and it relates to this exercise getting habituated by your brain. Just remember that you still need to follow the rest of the exercise. It's not enough to just let this ring automatically go on its own. You still have to detect the sensations in all of the spots underneath it, and so on. Another thing that should begin to happen is an increase in resolution and depth. This means that over time, you should increasingly sense as much of the slice across your body as possible. For example, as the ring passes over the lower part of your head, there are all kinds of areas to sense, from your nasal passages to your inner throat to the inside of your mouth and so on. No part of your body is an empty shell. If you get super good at sensing your skin sensations that are appearing under the ring, don't stop there. Go on to sense as many sensations as you can from the internal parts of your body as possible. Just as with the previous session, if your mind wanders during this exercise, it may very well just keep scanning. When you return your awareness to the exercise, you may find that one or more areas were skipped. That's no big deal. Just keep scanning from where you pick back up, and then go back and do those missed areas and start again. When you begin again, do so from the direction that you would have started next. For example, if you were scanning down the body and your mind wandered when your attention was on your upper abdomen, but by the time you noticed your mind was wandering, it had unconsciously, progressively scanned down to your thighs, you just keep going from your thighs down to the tips of your toes. Then you come back up, and do the part of your abdomen that was previously missed down to your thighs. And then you can jump back down to the toes and start scanning up the body. Very simple. Sometimes people are tempted to modify this exercise to follow stray sensations as they appear here and there on the body rather than going systematically. I know that can be very tempting, but it's incredibly important to maintain a consistent and systematic scan so you don't leave anything out. One additional point about this exercise, up until now in the program, we've received several different variations of the eraser method. You may have found that a previous version works well for you to, say, quiet your mind. It's perfectly okay to add a bit of time to the hour and begin with one of those previous versions of the exercise. So for example, you might do 5 or 10 minutes of watching your breath followed by the version of the eraser method for this session for a full hour. In fact, it's a good idea to start experimenting with stuff like this. Just make sure that you don't shortchange the 1 hour practice of this session's method. Okay, that's it for this session's modification of the eraser method. This will be the last major modification we make. So this is the general form of the exercise that you'll be using moving forward. We're just going to make a couple of minor tweaks to it next time. Enjoy, relax, take your time, and sink in to this amazing method. I'll see you next time.